What was your experience of the silence this morning, if you'd care to share?
Mine was floating. Excuse me, my voice is doing it. Mine was just floating.
Mine was a music duo, not any particular music, just that's great sound.
I was admiring the peace, this calm, the serenity, the ease. And as I floated, danced, and moved between different thoughts, which really were important projects, important doings, actions that I was doing yesterday that I'm still in, not quite complete. So it was creating, it was imagining, it was wondering what comes next. And as I observed mine was part of ours, part of our space that we were all giving to and we were all receiving from. And we don't realize how much that can influence ours. And so in today's space, I just acknowledge the calm, the peace, settled, grounded ease that we give and receive this morning. We've come a long ways. You've come a long ways. I've come a long ways. May you celebrate. Receive and give that celebration today. And may I take that celebration through my day to give, to receive, to share. And that was my experience from the silence this morning with each of you. Thank you.
I'll speak to something that I wrote in the chat. It came on the heels of a few dots that were connected this morning for me. And the one was Heinz talking about taking care of his bird in the way that she had taken care of him over all these years. So it's that cycle of giving and receiving. And then Jesse spoke about his experience in the silence and going from you to me to we. And I often write down phrases and then keep them as bookmarks. And so the phrase in the book that I was reading by Daniel Siegel, I didn't write down which book it was. It goes like this: our relationships with one another are not a luxury, but an essential nutrient for our survival. And as I read the phrase for our survival, I had it replaced as for our being, which I think is more than survival. But I love this comparison or contrast. Don't know that it's a contrast, but that what we have with each other, that cycle of giving and receiving, is not a luxury, but an essential nutrient.
For me, that's about the new node, the new structure, the new paradigm that's coming in. A switch from survival to being. To being all we could be, or at least moving in that direction. Being prosperity, being creativity. Being the cosmic intention.
Afternoon, Ian.
Afternoon, Hans. Morning, everyone.
Afternoon, Ian. So good to be with you.
Morning, Alison.
Good morning. Good afternoon to you, Ian.
Morning, Jesse.
Thank you.
Am I okay to ask you guys a question?
Mm.
Well, some advice, really. Something's come to light for me that I don't know how. It's a loop that I'm not sure how to get out of. What's come up for me unconsciously, there's something around feeling different, from others, which is causing a separation, which is holding me back from creating the level of intimacy that I would like with others. But there's also a belief that others see me as different. So it's like an inward belief and an outward belief, which is causing a separation and is not allowing me to connect as deeply with others that I would like to, because it's both inside and outside, if that makes sense. Because I believe I'm different, and I believe when I meet people, they see me as different. So it's on both ends, and I'm just not sure how to get out of it so I can create more deeper connections and intimacy. Because I know I'm not different. I know we're all the same. So yeah. Thank you.
So I'll go with what came to me as you were speaking, Ian. And I don't think it's going to be anything that you are not aware of, but I'm hoping that just hearing it from somebody else, and perhaps the difference in phrasing that we all have as individuals might be helpful. So sometimes for me, in my experiencing, being different is an advantage. When we feel that separation, what I've been able to come to is, so the separation might be in that, and because it's there, where's the closeness? Where do I go for the real connection? And I'm a lot older than you, so you have to take that into consideration, because I've had the privilege of being able to go through different life phases to the one that you're in. And I often have to remind myself of that. The reason why I bring it up is because I do wish that I had what I have now in my experiencing. I do wish that I had had that in my younger years, because it would have allowed for a different kind of intimacy. And what I have now, as opposed to then, was that the intimacy that I have between myself in terms of being in the contours of my body, as Lynn would always say. So it's between me and the very existence of life. And that although there would be moments of connection that could be very deep with another person, the source of that depth and that shared experience didn't lie in the other person. It lay in my relationship, if you want to call it that. I would rather say in my experiencing of the force of life itself. So I really hope that gives you something helpful. And I could say that I really value that. Well, I will say I really value your question. I think it is a universal question. But I think people like yourself experience it more with more clarity, and even perhaps more intensity than most.
Thank you, Alison. Yeah, what I've been doing is most days, well, not for the past week, but most days I've been going to the park by me and I've been taking squirrel food because I like feeding the squirrels. And every time I go, I feel like it's the same squirrel every time. As soon as the squirrel sees me, I feel like it's a male squirrel. He runs up to me and just sits there looking at me. So I feel like I've created this intimate connection with the squirrel because every time he sees me, he runs up to me and it's like this cute little face, and I just feel this intimate connection with a squirrel. I feel like it's the same squirrel every time. So yeah, I feel like I'm creating it with animals. So yeah, thank you,
What I
Alison.
come, what I've experienced, Ian, is that the higher you raise your frequency, the more separated you feel, because the ego feels separated from you, and it's the ego doing the judgment and telling you you're feeling separated from it. So the more connected you get with your heart, the more the ego will tell you you're separated from it. The ego is the one who looks at the world, takes in the info, digests it, and gives you whatever it thinks you need to hear.
Thank you, Hein. Um, I don't actually feel like I don't actually feel the separateness anymore. I used to feel really separate from others, but now I am feeling more connected, but it's an unconscious thing that I've come aware of where it's just a loop where because I'm feeling different, I'm not allowing people in because I'm feeling so different. But then when I go out and meet people, I feel like they see me as different. So it's like on the outside and the inside. So it's not allowing a level of intimacy in. I feel like it's been there the majority of my life. But I am feeling more connected than I ever have. But I just feel like it's an unconscious leap that's become conscious. But yeah, thank you, Hein. I appreciate it.
Mm. I also really like the way that Heinz defined that.
It's just like if I believe that I'm different and I'm not going to fit in, and then I'm believing that when I meet other people, they're going to believe that I'm different, and they're not going to want to connect with me because I'm different. It's like I'm creating it on both ends. So no wonder I've had challenges with intimacy and connecting with people. It's like, whoa, it's on the inside and the outside. Wow.
It's great awareness, as Jesse would say.
Like Alison said, we are all different. You shouldn't pay notice to it. You should embrace being different. That's your power. Just imagine everyone was alike. Oh my God, how boring the world would be. You
I
knew
think the
exactly what they
question
were.
that, sorry, Harry.
Sorry. Oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
the question that I'm actually asking is how do I break the unconscious loop without running to recode and, you
You're
know,
doing it again. You become aware of it and you brought it into from unconscious. The only way to work with yourself is get it out of the unconsciousness and working with it. There are no golden pill that can just say whoop and it's gone. It's the work you put into it, and you're doing it.
I second that 1,000%. The more we become aware of our automatics, so the more we become aware, the more we free ourselves.
yeah, and I just realized as Heinz was talking, there's an aspect of me wanting to fix it. So, oh yes, so thank you, Heinz.
You're changing your perception. And that's how we change. And to notice when you change it and celebrate it. Because that's when you bring more focus to what you want.
Yeah, and I'm feeling as well, my standards have gone up in who I actually want to connect with, so that's probably why as well, a little bit. Because I'm choosing to only connect with heart-centered people who have compassion and love here, and my standards have gone up around who I allow into my life and who I actually want to spend my time with. So Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm gonna go with what like all's been said. And it happened in the moment you asked the question. Because by asking the question, puts attention on it, it changes the frame, it opens the space, and your willingness to ask the question. And then you can look at places where it's going well, and you can find places that it can be improved. So and either way, it's like, oh, I can keep doing, I know what action to do. I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to, I'm changing old patterns, which means I'm replacing my old being, my old behaviors with new ones. And I just don't see it yet. I don't see it as well as I want it to be, as obvious. So, yeah. But then you find places that it's like, oh yeah, look, there it is. I can see the gold nuggets of change. And it becomes just by asking the question. So I honor asking the question.
Well, yeah, actually, while she was saying that, something for me. I went out on New Year's Eve. I went to like, it was like a meditation conscious event. It was like really good. And when I was there, if I was talking to people, I noticed straight away when I was trying to force the connection, and then I just stopped it. And I actually didn't force connections. If I didn't connect with people, it didn't bother me. But I noticed straight away when I was trying to force it, and I stopped. So yeah, thank you, Jesse.
Remember the feeling you get of other people seeing you different. You have no idea how other people see you. It's the ego again. It tells you something to keep you safe from disappointment, harm, whatever it thinks you're gonna get out of it. They might as well be seeing an interesting person that they like to know, but their ego is telling them, he's not interested in me. I'm too shy to do it.
Shyness isn't a problem anymore, Heinz. I thought when you were like, yay! Used to be, we're not anymore. I'm not shy at all. Thank you, Heinz. I appreciate it.
Well, they might be shy. It might be their ego telling them a different story. They might be very interested in you, but are too shy to actually do anything about it. So your ego tells you they see you as different.
Yeah, for me, it's not even about improvement, but it is about change. And that change is more toward true nature, like the truth of yourself, which may not be obvious to either you or anybody around you. So there's a trust that comes in there, a trust that the changes that are being made are are true to my nature.
Sorry, my signal went. Okay. As you're talking, there's the changes in the awareness. So now, because I'm aware, but actually,
Ian, you're going to have to
Yeah.
repeat what you've said.
thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry, Ian, we heard a robot. I don't know if you're in a better signal.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my signal went. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, good. Love to hear what you were saying. You don't mind saying it
Oh,
again?
sorry. I just said what's come to me as you're all talking is the awareness is in the knowing, and because now I've become aware of it, there's nothing else. Hi, sorry, my Wi-Fi kept cutting out.
It was good to hear your I don't know what word to use, sorry, your recognition of the value of the awareness and the power of it. And what I heard when you spoke to it was this renewed burst of release and receiving of energy. And
Thank you,
so,
Alison.
yeah, so I really liked also how Craig conceptualized, or phrased it in terms of us becoming our true selves. And I think that I heard that demonstration in it's really beautiful. Thank you.
There's something else I would like to share, but it's actually a bit deep. Is it okay if it's quite deep? It's something that's come to light for me. It's around regarding my health, and I can see where it's coming from. I'm gonna read the notes that I put. This is unconsciously my inner child. I want my dad to feel guilt for how he treated me as a child. Therefore, I am creating ill health so that every time he sees or talks to me, he feels guilty. I am creating it visually, my weight, like looking a bit different with my weight, low body fat, so that every time he sees me, he can see this illness. If it's a hidden illness, he won't be able to see it and he won't feel guilty. So I'm expressing it in my appearance. So when he sees me, he feels this guilt for how he treated me. Unconsciously, I'm trying to punish my dad for the way that he treated me as a child, and that I'm punishing myself, and that I'm creating the ill health myself because I'm creating the ill health myself, not to only punish my dad, but to punish myself because I feel like I need to be punished because I felt like my dad was punishing me as a child. So unconsciously, I feel like I need to be punished. So I'm creating it myself to punish both myself and my dad. And that I'm choosing the gene expression, I'm choosing it to come out the way that it is. Because I believe I can choose how the gene that I've got expresses itself. And I'm choosing for it to express itself in the way it is. So I can look different. So I can make my dad feel that guilt. It's my inner child. Yeah. So I'm creating it myself.
And the unspoken of that is that if you created that, then you can create anything.
Just when it came to me, it just came to my mind. I was like, wow. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like consciously, I forgive my dad. I love my dad, but unconsciously, there's something about me wanting to make him feel guilty
Mm.
because he was really mean to me as a child. So there's something there around me wanting to make him feel guilt. And every time he sees me, because of my weight, he's reminded of the illness that he feels. Because every time I see my dad, I do feel guilt of him. Like I feel this sense of guilt.
And so what I'm also going to say to you here that comes back to me is that time that Craig brought your awareness to the family pattern, and that this is probably an inherited pattern on both sides, you and your dad. One of them, right? But I'm still struck by the depth of the awareness and the willingness, as Jesse pointed out to you, in terms of asking the question. There has to be a willingness to do this work. So there has to be a willingness for awareness. And for me, that's where the recoding takes place. And as Hans might say, where you get to tell the ego to sit down and keep quiet.
I gotta step off, get ready for another thing. So thank you all. Great morning. You guys can continue if you'd like.
I'm going to leave as well. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.